All right, good evening, everybody. I'm going to call the regular meeting of the Willington School Building Committee to order. It's June 22nd at 7:04 p.m. Thank you for your patience as we got audio working in the room. First up, I want to make sure that we can hear people. Peter, can you hear us?
Good evening.
Good evening. All right, I have two Adams also attending remotely. Adam Zalonis, can you hear us and speak?
Yes, I can.
All right, Adam Brewer.
Gotcha. Thank you.
All right, beautiful. And how about you, Lisa?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right, beautiful. So we have a seat to fill. So I'm going to make a motion that we seat Lisa Eaton for the vacant slot.
I'll second.
Seconded by Ann. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Adam?
Aye.
There we go. All
Sorry, I
right,
was on
thank you.
mute.
No worries. Thank you. That's unanimous. Lisa, you're seated for tonight. Thank you.
Okay, sounds good.
Next up is community forum, question and answer. Public participation is encouraged. There is nobody in the room, but I'll open it up online to see if anybody would like to say anything or ask a question to the committee. Feel free to raise your hands. If not, we'll have plenty of time for question and answer tomorrow. All right, seeing none, I'm going to move on because we've got a busy agenda. So thank you, everybody. All right. Item number 3, chair report. You guys have a couple of pieces of information in your packet. First off, I want to say congrats to Peter Bacon and welcome. Peter, for the audience knowledge and as well for the members of the committee, Peter was appointed to the Willington Board of Education. And accordingly, he was designated the Board of Education representative on this committee in place of Sam Sperry, who resigned recently. So Peter, thank you for stepping up and taking on that role.
You're welcome.
Okay. So with that said, we do have a
Actually, I wasn't officially sworn in as being the person for representing the because
you into that, Pete. You're all set. You've been nominated by the Board of Ed.
no. I'm talking about being their voice for this SBC. I'm not 100% sure if that's fully where I'm going to be yet the representative for
it. You have been. It's official. I got a letter from the chair of the Board of Ed saying that you have been designated the school building committee representative for the Board of Education.
Okay, I didn't okay.
So, congratulations. Surprise, you're official.
Okay.
So yeah, with that said, we have a seated member vacancy still on the table that is not related to the Board of Ed. I'm told the Board of Selectmen at my request discussed moving one of our 2 alternates into that role as a full-time seat. I had asked them to move and get that done, but there was a miscommunication, so they only spoke about it apparently. I have reached out to both Lisa and John Dean, and both are willing to move into that seat from the alternate position. So it's really just a matter of the Board of Selectmen having it on a future agenda and appointing one. So we're appointing one of them. That is their decision, however. So I do appreciate both of you stepping up and being willing to move into the full-time seat. So more to come on that, Lisa and John, if you're listening.
Okay, sounds good.
All right. The other thing for chair report, you guys just have copies of the notes from the last 2 working group meetings with the Vecton team and Colliers. Much of the information in them we're going to discuss tonight, obviously. Then any action items that come out of that you have them for your records and knowledge. Like I said, it's been a very busy 2 weeks. That's it for now. And just a reminder for those who are only able to stay on early. The school building committee does have our community conversation presentation by Tecton Architects tomorrow at 6:30 at the Hall School Library, 6:30 to 8 o'clock. It will be a presentation on the various project options being developed by the committee. Interactive discussion and followed by a question and answer after the fact. Phil, I know we'll get into this later, just any prep for it, but I hope to see a lot of the community there tomorrow night to learn about these projects, preliminary costs, et cetera, et cetera. So please try to attend. It's in person only, that will be recorded for posterity. All right, that's all I got. So we're gonna move right along. Approval of minutes. Do I have a motion for the approval of June 8th minutes? Or I'll entertain a motion.
I move that we approve the meeting minutes from the June 8th meeting.
All right, thank you, Ann. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Thank
Adam
you, Ed.
Brewer. Yep.
All right, you guys have a copy of those minutes in your packet, so any discussion?
Thank you, Lisa, they're huge. Thank you for all the work.
Yeah, Lisa does do a very excellent job following along and concisely summarizing what are can be challenging conversation. All right. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna put you on the spot for roll calls on this because of the hybrid and making sure that we have official.
Mr. Marshall,
Yeah, so all those in favor, I'm an aye.
Mr. Brewer,
Aye.
Mr. Bacon. Mr. Bacon. Mr. Brothers. Okay.
Sorry,
back.
technical difficulties.
That's okay. Mr. Bacon, are you in favor?
Yes.
Thank you. Ms. Eden,
Aye.
not Mr. Stevens, and Mr. Zelonis,
Aye.
and Mr. Brothers.
Aye.
One.
Yeah, still have answer.
Oh, I'm sorry. Aye. Thank you.
Yes, good.
Awesome. All in favor, that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 in favor, none opposed, none abstentions.
Thank you very much, everybody. All right, that's it for minutes for tonight. Next up is new business 5A, June 23rd Community Conversation Coordination. So yes, as I mentioned, as part of chair report, that event is tomorrow night at the Hall School. Our architecture team, who is unable to attend tonight, unfortunately, due to conflict, but they will be leading this presentation tomorrow. We've received 2 drafts of their slide, which was linked into, which I sent via link because of the file size, is just so you guys were aware of what they prepared for tomorrow. It looks really great to me. I think it'll be informative for the community to see all of it.
It did look good.
So it should be, I think it'll be a really positive event. Any needs for you in the room, Phil, since we talked briefly last week?
No, that should be good to go. I'll get there early to make sure everything was good. Do you want Mike to do the townwide email blast about it tomorrow and me to do a messenger?
I think the more word we can get out, we'll post something on social media on behalf of the committee again that has been announced, but
Postcards did, I think, get that.
I know
I
they
got my
got,
postcard today.
yeah, I got mine on Saturday, so at least I didn't get one. She made it.
Great,
I got 2.
Well, there you go.
that's great. Oh, I'm glad to hear that.
All right, so yeah, I haven't confirmed it. Antonio and team confirm with you the time they plan to get there to set it.
Let's see that.
I will make a note right now to check and just confirm what time, but so I'll try to be there when they arrive as well, just to. Is Mike online yet?
I didn't see.
Okay. I know, Senator Gordon has a conflict. Mike was in conversation with, Representative Nuccio, about being involved as well. I just don't have an answer on that. So,
Sorry, I'm doing 4,000 things. Do we have a community engagement flyer only, just the flyer?
we have a flyer just for the community conversation.
So I'm just gonna send that then.
Perfect.
Yeah, so it's just.
Yep. All right. And Phil, thank you to your team for setting up that room with chairs and.
Yep.
Getting the monitor and all the speakers and everything all set up for everybody.
Good to go.
We'll be positive. Anybody have any questions about that in the room before I move along? Online? All right. All right, I'll give you a second. All right. Should be a good event, guys. I hope everybody's able to attend on behalf of the committee and listen in and hear it firsthand as well. All right. So next up, 5B, project budgets, fiscal impact analysis, review and updates. Okay. So you have an updated summary from, sorry, Scott, I copied you on the email to the committee, right? You have all the attachments to the sign as well?
Yeah, yes, I do.
Perfect. So you have an updated budget summary. Those budget numbers will be in the presentation tomorrow, obviously. Scott also did some preliminary cash flow forecasts for both the renovation option and the new building on new site option, as kind of a feed in to the town financial advisor, helping us project what the impact is and the cost of this project is over time. So thank you very much, Scott, for doing that. You actually have two versions of the summary sheet. And this is a conversation that we'll have tomorrow as well. One is, we talked about geothermal and the advantage of that. Now, typically, just as a high level discussion now, we don't need to get into it. Get some community input, but geothermal, the upfront costs tend to be expensive. With that said, at 95% reimbursement, it changes the conversation a little bit. We had talked about, it does look like there's opportunity after that reimbursement that the net impact of town is not that great, and the return on investment in operational savings is likely to be very, very fast. But I didn't want to include that in the initial numbers until we have a chance to really beat that back and forth. So the budgets that are going out tomorrow are the ones without geothermal. And we can have a deeper conversation about that. But I wanted you guys to see the impact. It's about a direct add of, I think, Scott, what is it, 3.4 million?
Approximately 3.4 all in. That's with contingency escalations, design fee, and all the wells and implementation of it. Yes.
Yeah, and that's before reimbursement. So
Correct.
When you take 93 or 95% of that, it's like a $200,000 to $250,000 cost. So we have to, Tecton is, Scott, can you correct me or refresh me rather? Did we ask Tecton to prepare some preliminary energy savings on that?
Correct. Yes. They let us know, I believe, last Friday that the engineers were working on that. So we anticipate that soon.
Okay, so that's the missing piece of the puzzle to figure out, what the operational savings would be projected to be, so that we understand whether or not.
And maintenance costs would be nice to know.
Correct.
And
Oh,
we
good
have to
point.
train and things like that.
Yep.
Because I know the ones in Stafford, there's a massive lawsuit going on and it's not working since they built the new school. So I'm not, yeah.
Well, that aspect of things should come through commissioning and your general contractor doing proper trainings and And, you know, an owner's rep would manage that most likely. So that sounds like a problem that happened from construction and not from,
No, it happened from engineering phase. And it hasn't been right since they opened it. When they
okay, so
redid-
that should have got, again, that should have got vetted in commissioning, but I understand. But
Yeah.
I mean, proper training should fall back on or on the general contractor and the owner's rep most likely. That's all I'm gonna say about that.
I just know it's all in litigation for years, so.
Yeah,
That was the
you-
rest.
you know, I might suggest reaching out to your neighbors in Mansfield who just built a net zero school utilizing geothermal heat pumps. And you know, I believe to date they are achieving that net zero status, meaning they're producing as much energy as they're using. So you know, they had as far as I understand, I haven't spoken with them probably for 6 to 8 months, but they had a good experience.
So yeah, I ran some numbers on this too. And given, I mean, I did a 93% reimbursement rate and didn't assume everything was eligible. I assumed like 96% eligibility, 20 years bonds, and I think about 30,000 utility for oil, and the numbers look really good. We're net positive from the start. It's, you know, at least in worst case, you're looking at like $4,000 a year positive. We're ahead of the game. And then over the 20 years, you're like almost $500,000 ahead. So,
Yep, I'm interested, very interested in seeing what Tech Dot, I'll Tech Dot, and I guess you, Scott, how we vet this and, validate the impact of this, the project as we discuss it. But it's not included currently. Again, we need to know the impact. I just wanted to share that conversation so that everybody was aware. It was being looked.
can we also detail what the PV system will be, or what the proposed PV system is, how many kilowatts, etc.? Because that will impact it as well.
Scott, how granular can we even get with that? With the assumptions at this early stage?
Yeah, I mean, we can reach out to the design team. I mean, it's going to be a product of you don't want to do most of it roof mounted. So again, depending on your mechanical systems, if you went geothermal, there's a lot more room on the roof. You know, you're going to be a little bit more limited with ground mounted PV. You know, I mean,
We have
again,
plenty of space.
I can pose the you know, I can pose the question to CES, and we can look at you know, we can look at some recent examples of other school systems that have implemented those same size and you know, at least get some historical data. I can take a look at that as well.
Excellent. Thank you, Scott.
Do you want me to reach out to Mansfield?
Yeah, if you
Just
could.
see how things are going.
Yeah, that would be great. Thank you. Let's see here.
Mike's at like 2 days ago.
Oh, hey. Okay, welcome, Mike. I didn't catch you join. Thank you, Jeremy.
Sorry, I didn't want to interrupt when I joined, so I've just been hanging.
Hey, Jim, I just joined as well, John T, and sorry I'm late.
Oh, excellent. The gang's all here. All right. Thank you, John. Thank you, Mike. We are, I don't know when you jumped on, but we're talking 5B, project budgets, fiscal impact. The only thing I will say about this is Scott, myself, and Mike had a call on Friday morning with the financial advisor. She's been provided all of this information just to get her going. Mike, I have not seen anything come in. The hope was we could get something preliminarily in advance of the meeting tomorrow. We have a follow-up with her tomorrow morning.
Yeah,
just
she did send something. I'll check emails right now. Maybe you were left off by accident. Hang on.
Yeah, it's weird. I didn't get it. So
I'll let you know in a minute.
well, thank you, sir. So she is running, at least she's obviously not gonna be able in 2 days' time, get from, A to Z. She was trying to give us a sense of some preliminary recommendations as to how to structure things, potential 20 to 30 year costs, probably on one of the options initially. In all honesty, the options are not that far apart, total project costs. So it should be fairly representative. Ideally, we will have a detailed financial strategy for the options in consideration. It's just gonna take a little bit more time to get there, but we're trying to get some preliminary stuff to share with the public tomorrow if possible. So that is ongoing. And we're trying to get there, but it's a complicated process.
Jim, I don't see an email now. I was sure before I saw one, so I'm not sure what I'm missing here, but I'm gonna keep looking.
Yeah, she had responded after I sent along that information on Friday,
Right.
just with
Yep.
you. That's the last I saw, so.
Okay.
So cross your fingers, we'll see. See what we get back tomorrow, and if it's in a position that we can, share something as part of a presentation.
Do you wanna ask Mike if he'll send that flyer out,
Oh, good point, thank you. Jumping back a bit, Mike, the community conversation tomorrow night, the event
Yep.
flyer, can you blast that via the town tomorrow? As a-
Yes. Do we have that, right?
I will send it to you. Yes, we have that. I will send it to you and Phil now directly.
Okay.
This way we can get the word out as much as possible. Take it from there. All right, anything else? Project budgets, questions? These are gonna get much more detailed, much more developed as the next month goes by. Well, not the budgets, but the financial aspect of it. All right. Hearing none. Fly through this today, moving on. Item 5C, early childhood education reimbursement incentive discussion. So I included this, we've tried to put this topic to bed, it's lingering, unfortunately. So I just wanted to basically touch on it again and say where we're at. What you have in your packets is the information that Scott and the Colliers team sent to us from their work with another district. Scott, I am gonna put you on the spot, just say, based on this, it is your knowledge that the early childhood education grant does not require any birth to 3 age correct or requirement?
That is correct. That is our understanding based on correspondence from another district that birth to 3 is not required to achieve the 15% additional reimbursement percentage points.
Perfect. With that said, just to try to close the loop, I have asked Phil directly to DAS on behalf of Willington to regurgitate this response we see in front of us, hopefully, specific to Willington, so that we can share it with the community. Because I can't share works from another school if it's not something we're gonna do. So that's where that stands. I hope we can't obviously control DAS's response, but when it comes, we'll do something with it. And Phil did email to go out.
It's out.
Perfect. Any other thoughts on that? No. All right. Thank you. Next. Scott, I'll turn milestone over to you. 5D milestone schedule review. I can't remember if this has been changed since our last meeting.
Not significantly, no. I'll try and get an update out this week if there are big changes. But I think yeah, the major milestones have not changed. As you had mentioned, we've got a meeting at 9:30 tomorrow morning to review the initial tax impact calculations for the two of the options that we discussed earlier. Big meeting tomorrow night, the community session, followed up by our working group. We have put highlighted in blue some other just excuse me, placeholders for community meetings. So I think after tomorrow night's meeting, we definitely want to continue the dialogue and start trying to identify some other key dates. Because with that in mind, I think as we talked about at the last meeting, right now the target for a referendum is Tuesday, October 6th, and we do have a timeline in place to achieve that goal. We are tentatively looking at, and I'm going to kind of work my way towards that, but the end of July, tentatively planning a potential building committee board of ed meeting to discuss the projects as in a joint session. Looking to make a recommendation, the school building committee make a recommendation to the Board of Selectmen around August 10th, in advance of their regular meeting on August 17th, where they would review final recommendations, the project options, respond to questions, and review a draft resolution. Targeting the planning and zoning meeting on August 18th for the 824 referral. Moving into early September, Board of Selectmen would call for a public hearing on or around September 8th, September 15th, public hearing, calling the town meeting, and the town meeting would take place on Tuesday, September 22nd. That would set the referendum, and that would be the start of the blackout period. There's a number of, excuse me, of other meetings, smaller meetings in between, but I think, those are some of the key milestone dates. Certainly, I think Jim, as Jim alluded to, more detailed cost estimates. Again, Colliers has produced some higher level estimates. I believe the architect, by their contract, owns more of a detailed narrative and estimate. Just verifying the project costs. We have been working in parallel in conjunction with Tecton, developing the numbers for all the scenarios. So, again, I think those are pretty well vetted numbers. So I don't have that key date yet. Still waiting. I think we're waiting for a little bit clearer direction on an option, and then for the architect to produce those. So,
Yeah,
any
they do.
questions? Go ahead.
No, sorry, they do have a more detailed estimate captured in their scope for the preferred project option, whatever that becomes, on behalf of the community, so.
But we're going to be moving pretty quick here to get to that October 6th referendum. October seems like a long way off, but I think it's going to be here a lot quicker than we all anticipate.
Yeah, so I think these three other community discussions you have tagged as placeholders, we need to start dialing them in pretty quickly, once tomorrow's call, and come up with a strategy for getting additional community input. And then, Mike, we have to work through how we get from multiple options to a recommendation with the community.
Agreed.
So we're gonna put our minds together and come up with that strategy. That's not get in the way of public requirements, not public requirements, but grant requirements and the process. So we gotta get them working together.
Yeah, I have some ideas that we should probably work on and earlier than later, so that we can make sure to get a lot of engagement with the public.
All right, I'll make a note for that. Start pushing that.
Is that something we could ask of the public tomorrow night? If anyone has suggestions?
I was definitely thinking we'd start to get some feel, or at least some clues out of that meeting of how, like, what questions people are asking, and might help us figure out some of our path forward.
Yep, a good point. Yeah, next month and a half, we're gonna be really busy. Happy summer.
Can I ask you a question about the joint meeting BOE?
Sure.
Is there I guess I don't understand what will occur at that meeting, and I want to relay that to them. I don't know. I don't,
So, Scott, you can chime in. My expectation of that would be that we're basically, it's a formal kind of working meeting to relay the work that this board has done in support of the Board of Ed spec, and just making sure that, what the options, get their insight on what the options are that we're presenting to the town, just so that I can help inform that discussion. Scott, if you had anything else in mind with that, that's a specific requirement.
No, it's not a specific requirement of the process at all, but again, I believe there's value in a joint meeting between the building committee and the Board of Education to openly discuss the final options, option recommendation, how that aligns with the ed spec. So, if either side, Board of Ed or building committee, have any questions prior to making a formal recommendation to the Board of Selectmen, that would be the meeting to get all of that on the table and any final open issues resolved.
Makes sense. Yeah. Date that in here,
May 7th.
July, yeah. All right, any other questions? Any other thoughts on this, Scott? Other than, I'll just say
Nope.
thank you.
If anybody has any questions, but no.
All right. Hearing none, we'll go right on to the next topic. So. Let's see, where are we? 5D, due diligence coordination, potential new site. All right. The first part of this is the appraisals. So Scott and Colliers have put out an RFP soliciting appraisals that got no responses. So following that, he reached out directly and we did get a proposal for an appraisal of the new parcels, which is not just advantageous, obviously, for purchase and sale, future purchase and sale due diligence, but also a requirement of the grant application process. We actually need two. So this would be the first one. Because we had trouble, you'll have I think I copied the proposal in here as well as the emails. Yes. By our Haggerty Associates. So given the back and forth, that proposal came in and it was a $3,000 fee. And given that we were having struggles, I basically gave the direction to proceed. Where I told Mike that the recommendation from Scott was to accept it, and we proceeded with getting that going so as not to cause any delay. What I will say is I'm just going to ask you guys to formally approve it, even though we've already got the process started. So I'm sorry?
Have we approved the money yet?
That's what the motion I'm going to ask you guys to do is just formally on behalf of the committee. So tell you what, I'll make the motion since I have it in front of me. Well, before I do that, any questions about the appraisal process? And that's.
Might be required that.
We are.
You're required to have, yeah. I don't, and like you said, you're supposed to have two, nobody responded, so.
Well, no, we will have to do a second one. We'll do them. Scott, how far apart can they be?
You need them within, I believe, 6 months of the grant application. So the one that you're going to receive now that you'll use for negotiation of a potential land purchase, we would just go back to that appraiser and just ask them to verify, or it might be $500 to update the number within 6 months, issue a new letter, and then we'll have to pursue a second.
Okay.
And then the state, by state statute, they will reimburse up to the higher of the two appraisals.
Even better.
Just the clarification of most part, so.
Yep. So with that said, I'm gonna move that we approve or authorize the proposal from R.F. Haggerty and Associates, Inc., dated June 16, 2026. For an appraisal of Assessor's Map 10, Block 04, parcel B, C, and D, which is the new site option that the committee is pursuing for a total of $3,000.
I'll send that.
Seconded by Jeremy. Any further discussions? All right. Can you give us a roll call again?
Sure.
Thank you.
And Mr. Zelonis,
Aye.
and Ms. Rocha,
Aye.
and Ms. Eaton,
Aye.
Mr. Brothers,
Aye.
Mr. Bacon. Mr. Bacon,
Aye.
and Mr. Brewer,
Aye.
and Mr. Marshall.
Aye.
It's unanimous.
Thank you very much, everybody. So that is moving along. Did he give you a date on that? When we're expecting it, Scott?
I would have to look. I know you've got it there. I'd have to look up.
3 weeks.
I don't believe it was a long period. I think, but I would have to look it up. I mean, I can look on that and see if there's anything in his
Yeah, no.
email response.
3 weeks from the date they receive authorization.
Okay.
So it's 3 weeks from the date that Mike sent that back, which was Thursday last. So that'll come fast. All right, so that's appraisal for now. Next up is geotechnical and septic evaluations. Given the history of the site is a part of the any pre-purchase due diligence and just validating that the site is suitable for the needs that we're proposing to put on it. I think this, as discussed in the working group, is highly advantageous for us to do. So with that said, there is some coordination of work related to that, clearing of the land so that they can get a rig to do any geotechnical. Mike,
Yes.
where is? I forget where we left this, but I think you had.
I'm working on contractors who would do the clearing the path for the drill rig to get in for the coring rig. I've talked to the seller's representative for permission to do that already, which is done, approved. And I believe the next thing would be getting the geotech advice on where to do that, so we can ask the potential contractors what it will cost to chop the way in there.
Can you follow up with Tecton for us and just?
Yes, I've got a note to circle back. I talked to Jeff last week. I know they're out today, so I will check in again tomorrow. I've asked them to produce a sketch not only for boring locations based on the proposed building location, but also location to do some septic test pits. So I am awaiting that document. I will follow up.
And then once we have that, we'll have to see proposals for that work. And that'll come before us in a future meeting.
Yeah, I think we can get the boring location fairly quickly. I think for the septic, you really just need the town sanitarian, probably the engineers for the architect side, and just dig some test pits, look at the modeling line, and just evaluate the strata for its ability to support a septic system.
All right. So action items on this, we got to follow up with Tecton. Boring locations. Once we have that, we can, Mike will have to coordinate a meeting with the town sanitarian and Tecton's team. not a
Yeah.
meeting, but coordinating a visit to the site when we coordinate the timing of that work.
Yeah, we might be able to co-locate fairly close a boring for the septic as well as a perk pit if that's recommended. That way the people going in clearing can clear, a little bit larger area if that's what's needed. And get those, maybe be able to get those at the same time.
Yep. Okay. So we don't have costs associated with this yet. Scott, you were anticipating probably in the neighborhood of 10,000 for the geotechnical
Correct.
aspects of it. And then clearing depending on what that comes to be a separate fee. Unless depending on how Mike and what Mike digs up for contractors will be for, of course. So that's where that stands.
New testing for the new school on existing site or no, I don't know. For that there.
Well, not only for septic. We're overly concerned about that. Scott, is there any consideration that needs to do boring?
Or if there's a new site, there's a new site.
Yeah, I'm wondering whether there's any need to do it on the existing field area for the existing site option.
Yeah, let me pose that question. I think I talked about that with Jeff, and I'm not sure he was recommending it there, but certainly the new site establishing what's there. But let me ask Jeff on that.
Thank you.
Hey, Mike, we have background noise on you, so I'm just gonna mute you.
I guess that was
He did it. I did not even, I did not even have the chance to.
Anything else by way of due diligence that I'm not remembering, Scott? For this new parcel, or the existing parcel, that is a requirement for us in advance of.
We do have the phase one report back from the existing site, and I'm anticipating, I was hoping to have it this week. The individual's out today. We should have Langen's report, phase one environmental assessment report. I'm anticipating this week for the proposed parcel. So that is the only other outstanding due diligence item.
Scott, does Langen have a deadline that they owe it to us?
It's typically within a month of when we sign the contracts. I think we had agreed that it would be this week.
Awesome. Thank you.
Wonderful. We'll look forward to it. Anything else that anybody can think of? All right. Thank you for that. Old business. Operational budget savings through consolidation. Bill, I honestly don't remember where we left this. There's nothing in your packets on it. You had done another, I think you hadn't presented any revisions to the Board of Ed when we spoke last, so
Yep.
give us an update on.
So, we're doing this in two prongs. Just to show what the savings would be if we were at 519 and not knowing some of the positions. So that was prong one. And then prong, what out of the 519 would be guaranteed savings. And then the second prong is if we went to one building today, with our current enrollment, what would the savings be? And on the staffing side alone, and again, you can't, I'm gonna say this again, because it hit Facebook immediately, when I shared this the first time, is that you couldn't do this with our current two buildings. You'd have to be in one. If you went to one building today, you would see savings off of a principal, a couple secretaries, You got a paraprofessional in there, half a health teacher, there's a portion of music and world language. Custodians, it was, and what I said was some of this stuff is on the current Board of Education reduction list. But the total was $688,000 if you did that today. What I guaranteed off of the other prong was a minimum of 500,000. And again, I'm only talking about staffings. The operational savings on the other items that were like phone, internet, fuel, things like that were could be included in that as well. So that's kind of where it's at right now. It'll be put into an SBC format presentation, kind of one pager, so everybody can kind of see it and for the Board of Ed and SBC as well.
Right, that would be great, having, yes, so when you can send that as we start to look at, what's your timing?
I don't have time.
Just thinking through, so as we start to develop with the financial advisor in the next month or so.
Yeah.
Having that information so that you can kind of capture that as.
My hope is by 4th of July, but
I get it.
Adam's one question. Yeah,
Adam, go ahead.
So when it comes to facilities or, with, the operational savings, I think that's what you guys were just talking about. I might have missed you there regarding utilities and all that. Is that where we're waiting on to get to Tecton to do a comparison? I know Tecton's supposed to provide some numbers on what they would believe the options would provide for energy efficiency and whatnot.
Yeah, there's two pieces. So Phil was just referencing the staffing budget side. There's operational, the operational side is something that you've also started to pull together, but that we're waiting on information from Tecton on. They were gonna,
utility based, really.
yeah, essentially.
So weren't we supposed to provide Tecton with some
that has been done.
bills? Okay.
They have 2 or 3 years worth of energy usage. Yep, they have all the data.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
So we just need to know from them when they can start crunching some numbers for us. I thought that was pretty soon.
Yeah, Scott, can I, in your many follow-ups to Tecton, since they're not in the room tonight, can you just kind of follow up on, they were gonna run an energy use intensity, I think, analysis?
Yes, I put the note down. Yeah, we talked about that earlier of if I know they're currently working on it, so I will inquire on the status of that information.
That's all I got. Any other questions? Thank you, Phil, for moving that along.
Yep.
An important piece of the puzzle. Kind of look forward to seeing it. Beautiful. All right. Communications and community engagement. So let's see what made it into this packet. Not too bad. Okay. So I thought there were a couple of emails. Well, I did send them. Oh, no, they're in the bottom of my packet. Just not in the right order. Okay. So towards the back of your packets, after invoicing, there is an email. We received 2 emails since our last meeting. That you both appear to be in there the last 3 days of your packet. So I just shared them along so that you guys are aware of it. One was they're from and it's Rego and a Miss Ignosco. So question I had for you guys as we receive more of these questions, I don't want to necessarily let them sit there unresponded to. For 2 weeks, like I haven't responded to one of these yet. Because I wanted to kind of figure out how we want to approach that. I'm happy to respond in the best way that I can to some of these. I think, Phil, the last committee, I think a lot of the responses were just see the FAQ, which is effective for common questions, I guess.
Yeah.
So I'm just wondering, I guess I'm trying to gauge your comfort level on being able to respond to these as they come in and just share their responses, and
Hey, Jim.
yeah,
One of the methodologies we also tried, because sometimes that generic answer or referring people to somewhere else didn't always sit well with people. We kind of came to an agreement, I believe, because we had a communications subcommittee also, we kind of talked this through there, but I believe what we settled on was if the information had already been discussed in some form in public, whether it was in a meeting or in some documents released or on the FAQs, then the chair was free to just answer the question, and that way the response would be timely. And if it was something that was going to require a decision or some sort of debate or whatever, the answer would be, thank you for the question. Please look at the FAQs for as much as we can answer. And please attend the next meeting. We'll try to discuss it or something to that effect. But we did try to be responsive because that seemed to be more, that received more of a positive effect from the public. But we didn't have a huge amount of communication either by the email.
we haven't to date either. But I'm hoping as these presentations go up over the next month, we're going to get more and more. And I just want to make sure that we're trying to answer questions as they come up on your social media to some degree.
So did this come through Facebook?
No, these came to the SBC email address. Yeah.
Okay. I think if we answer it, we're not only answering it for that person, but for anybody else who, might be interested. And we did, I don't know if you want to discuss the history of the 528 bill. Is that something we did consider that last time? And the scary part was.
So sorry, you're making a comment based on the specific email.
Yeah, just
wondering whether 5 through 8 could be consolidated with Mansfield and what we did for you.
Yeah, but thank you for clarifying that.
Yep.
But we did contact Mansfield, and the scary part was, number one, we did not have representation on the board, and help me out, Phil, make sure I'm being accurate. Okay, we did not have representation on the board. Number two, they only had to give us a year's notice to say that they no longer had space, they wanted to discontinue the agreement. So by then, we've eliminated all of our space for all of the students, and how was the cost?
So, without answering that question,
Okay.
this is literally the last question on the old FAQ.
Yeah, I hadn't looked it up yet.
I thought it was on there. I just wanted to see. Do you want me to just read what's here?
Sure.
The Board of Education had discussions regarding regionalization with Mansfield and Ashford in 2009, 2010, and again in 2016. During the first consideration, it was determined that the additional cost to Willington residents would be excessive, approximately $1 million more per year at that time. The second discussion was halted as other districts were willing to accept Willington students, but not interested in providing Willington taxpayers a voice on their Board of Education. Also, students were sent to a different district. The host district would require taxpayers to pay tuition, transportation, and special education costs. Lastly, the host district would only need to provide 1 year's notice if they no longer wanted to provide educational services to Willington students. And then at the time, it said Mansfield was in the process of building a new school. So without the last line, it's pretty accurate of what happened in the past. And
You could cut and paste that right into your response.
Yeah,
you can use that now.
Because it's a good question, but we did find that it did not serve us well.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. And thank you for the interest fee email to those that have sent them in. So that was more general communications discussion. What I will move on and just hit these in somewhat rapid fire. The think tank workshop. So you got links to 2 slide decks from Tecton and the meeting material I sent to you. One of them was the think tank slides that they presented to the groups of teachers during that event. The other one, it just came in Sunday evening from Tecton. Was the reporting out of that, the exercises that were done that day. So take a look at that. I am going to make sure that we get that on the town website. And once we get past this community conversation, share those on social media, just so that they're in some way, shape or form, just so that the public is aware of that. They're already aware that it happened, but I think the reporting out is just as important. I'm sure Tecton will be able to speak to it. When we next have them in here during a regular meeting, so.
We want to display the results of the work from the think tank, during tomorrow's meeting.
They have a summary slide, I think there's a slide in their presentation for it already, so they will talk about that. But. Yeah, I think they did a great job, summarizing the exercises. So take a look at it. If you have any thoughts or comments, over the next couple of days, send them my way and or we can relay them to Tecton. Otherwise, we'll just get that reporting out there for the public so that they can see it. Student workshop. They have a similar slide in their presentation tomorrow showing the result of that dot exercise that was done on behalf with all of the various grade levels. You have the summary information and the letter from the superintendent that went out to school community. Tecton again will kind of, I think, formalize the reporting out of that. Phil, did you get any of these back? Oh, you got a big stack of it. Okay.
Not, well, some of them are blank, but there's some in.
Okay.
I know of one that is outstanding. Adam's son, a 5-year-old, on the day that we were at Willington Day.
Oh,
He
yeah.
created the plumbing system for the new school. We had water faucets and, so Adam, do you still have that? The one your son created?
I
Okay.
think we do. I can look.
Maybe bring it tomorrow, yeah.
Yeah, bring it and upload it for us so that we can send it to Tecton and they can incorporate it. All right,
Okay.
so really nothing additional on that other than we're waiting on Tecton summary for that stuff, and Bill is going to hand that over so we can get it off his desk when we see the Tecton team tomorrow. Social media presence, it has been pretty engaged, which is kind of great. I think I had sent you, it wasn't part of the packet material, but screenshot from the page showing the number of people that are viewing these posts, and it's significantly greater than what we're seeing on like YouTube views or meeting attendance. So I think it is an effective way of sharing information, hopefully, and it's getting some input. We're going to try to maintain that to the degree that we can. Keep on keeping on. So, Paul Foundation outreach. Mike, I'm going to go to you for this.
I had a very brief conversation with Alice Castles last week and kind of reopened the door. Said before they've got a lot going on, but she was interested in the conversation. As soon as I get further, I'll let you know.
All right, thank you. Yeah, we would, I think connecting her with the Tecton team or connecting the Hall Foundation with the Tecton team about exploring that is, I think is an important part of our community discussion.
Yes, agreed.
So I'd like to try to get that in a time without pressuring them, try to expedite making that arrangement happen so that we can have it in effective manner before we
Absolutely.
Well, thank you, sir. Keep us posted. Let's see, what's next? Mail number 3, thank you, Lisa, for getting that mailed out and picked up. They managed to deliver it and print it really fast. They hit people's mailboxes over the weekend. So we had the date community conversation on it, so hopefully. And I know people received it because I got one. Lisa, you didn't get one, did you?
I did not.
That's why I didn't think that we're neighbors, yeah.
So every door direct is not an exact science apparently, but
Maybe tomorrow.
maybe, but they are getting out there. So anything we can do to share it, spread the word, I think is better. So well, we're probably going to be start thinking about mailer number 4 over the next couple of weeks once we have more financials and stuff to share, Lisa. So we're not ready
Yep.
for it yet. Start planning.
No, I am, and I think it's, I know we've discussed our timeline at least a couple of times tonight, and I think it's good to just keep sight of the fact that probably the whole process takes at least a month. I think that's kind of the quickest between generating the ideas we want on the flyer, getting feedback from the committee, making those changes, getting it to CNM, getting them to ship it back, getting it to Tallinn, getting it out, so a month is, I think, kind of the quickest we can all make it happen. So I don't know when we want to do our next event, but we just want to be very cognizant of that.
Yeah, we can look at the approach to these, whether it's really just getting people out to these community conversation
Yeah.
holders, and how much info actually needs to go on them, or whether it's just a reminder to please show up, and learn more about.
Yeah,
the
that's
project.
fine too. Yeah, I mean, if
Yeah.
it's something that's, this is happening and please show up at this date and time, that we can truncate that 1 month. That doesn't take kind of like time for the committee to review. I don't think it'll take that much time, but then the shipping and the mailing is about a solid 2-week turnaround.
All right. Well, we will start setting some, I think once we get through tomorrow's meeting or tomorrow's community conversation presentation, we'll start setting some new dates pretty quickly. So maybe we just have one that's a look ahead at upcoming with a couple of key dates on it.
I was gonna say key date might be something that's connected to how the public is gonna help narrow the.
Yeah.
If we can figure that out.
Yep. All right.
I have turned the mailer 3. I have also turned that into a Facebook post image. I know that you had posted it to Facebook. I have one that's kind of like, okay, this is tomorrow night that I was going to send out. That's just entirely based on the mailer, but it says specifically this is for tomorrow night. That I can post.
Sorry, Lisa, I think we have that flyer that Tecton prepared that's been out there already. I think we just reissue that because that's what Mike is gonna distribute on the town side. And what Phil is distributing on his end.
Okay, so that was the one I think you posted like a week ago.
Yeah, I think we just send out an update to that with comments off, just saying, please join us.
All right, so it doesn't matter to me. Do you want to post that tonight or do you want me to post that or tomorrow?
I can take care of it. I just sent the file to Phil and Scott, but to Phil and Mike, so.
Okay. All right, so you'll put something on all the local Facebook groups tonight or tomorrow.
I'll take care of that on behalf of the SBC.
Those CG reminders are huge. There's people like me who forgot about it. You see the Facebook posting and you go to the meeting.
Mine's programmed for 10:30.
Yeah.
Yeah, tomorrow morning.
All right. All right, so last step in communications, sorry, anything else on the mailers? All right, so last up on communications, we have a marketing proposal. I'm going to suggest we go back to this after we talk through the administrative needs and contract stuff, because there are costs associated with it. And I think we need
back to the tall timbers.
Yeah, we'll go back to the tall timbers after we deal with contract status and financial report, all that stuff. Okay, so moving on, contract status, approvals and ad services reviews. So in your packets, as we asked them last week, we asked both Colliers and Tecton to revisit the proposals they gave us a couple of months ago, back when we didn't have a defined referendum target. To take a look, revisit their proposal, see if there's any changes based on the set date of October 6th. So what you have here, and thank you, Scott, for sending this along. We'll start with Colliers. So he basically gave a summary. It's mostly a time commitment to get the additional time. He's being creative or working with us, in that his existing fee, he believes is going to be able to stretch likely till the end of July without any increase. And there's a request for what will be a net change of $6,500 to his prior contract of $35,000 or $5,000 reimbursable, to get us through till October 6th.
That's when we're thinking like that. Well, so when we're trying to set the right plan.
Correct, yeah. Scott, since we have you, can you just talk a little bit about that second to last paragraph? Sorry, third to last paragraph. Tasking the OPM procured after approved a referendum with finalization.
Right.
Just kind of summarize what you're trying to get at there, because it didn't read cleanly for me.
Yeah, because originally our contract included filing the grant, working with you to get the grant filed by June 30th of this year. Since you're going to get your funding prior to filing a grant, and you can file the grant up to June of 2027, what I'm recommending is include that scope of work when you hire the OPM for the project once the funding has been passed, because any work done after funding approval, the state will reimburse you for. So in essence, you can get back, 93 to 95% of the effort for an OPM to work with you to file and get the rest of the paperwork together for the grant, instead of trying to do it prior to. So
Gotcha.
that also, making that recommendation, I think, is a benefit to you. It doesn't hurt your timeline, but it removes some scope from us, which allowed me to be a little more cost effective.
That explanation makes some sense. Which is why the ask is only an additional 6,500. Trying to be creative within our budget, and I appreciate that personally.
And that would apply to the architects too, that was. We need to hire architects.
Yeah, correct. So once we get past referendum and or grant application, although we can talk to Tecton about that as well, because they do have grant application as part of their contract doing something similar, but that's not in their proposal as stated now. So thoughts, discussion? Otherwise, I think we should, since the June 30th date is technically coming up, I think we should probably move on this. Hearing none. All right, yes, I guess we need a motion.
Okay, I move that we approve the funds for Colliers of $6,500, which takes us to when that date.
October 6th.
October 6th for the referendum.
Or, sorry, correction. No, October 6th.
To cover their work until October 6th.
I'll second that. Or any further discussion? All right, Want to do a roll call on that for us?
Mr. Marshall
Yes.
and Mr. Brewer,
Aye.
Mr. Bacon. Mr. Bacon. Mr. Brothers
Yes.
and Miss Eden,
Aye.
Ms. Grosjean
I,
and Mr. Zelonis.
Aye.
Mr. Bacon, are you there? No, one technical difficulty.
All right. That was 6 ayes though, so that passes. Thank you, Scott, for being willing to work creatively with us to get this where it needs to be with the revised schedule. So thank you.
You're welcome.
What I will ask, can you prepare the formal, I guess, amendment?
Yeah, it'll just be a one pager. It's our standard, and it'll show you what the fee was prior to, what the ad was, and then it will also note taking 3,500 from reimbursable expenses and moving that down. So I'll get that to you tomorrow.
All right, sounds good. And Mike, I'll copy Mike on that too, because he's ultimately the one that's got to execute it for you.
Correct.
Got it.
Thank you. All right. Next up, our other consultant, Decton. They revisited their proposal. You actually got 2 versions of it. A corrected version is the one we should be looking at, which is what's in your packets. They are. So they basically clocked this out as anticipated number of meetings, attendance of meetings. We can, but also have noted a willingness to work with us, meaning if we don't need them for meetings, we don't necessarily need to be billing for those meetings. But we should encumber, I guess, the amount, which is $25,500 to keep us through till the October 6th referendum. Just to give you guys a sense, I did not get to the financial office in time today, but I've been tracking this internally on our end. So just as a point of note, after the appraisal, we had about $118,000 encumbered out of our $200,000 budget. After the appraisal, including this, including Tecton's added fee, including Collier's added fee, that brings us to about 158,000.
But that doesn't include the test scores people yet.
It does not include all of that, but it leaves us with $40,000 less of a balance. So I've taken a stab at some of these assumptions, but with geotech, with some legal services, additional mailers, 3 more, according to Secretary of Payroll, second appraisal, we're probably up around the $185,000 line. It's a guess, but it's.
I mean, you've got the drillers, you've got somebody to clear this path. Who knows what you gotta bring in there to get the thing in there. You
Yeah,
don't have to do anything.
I have a 10,000 placeholder for geotech. To get to that 180.
Then you
I don't
probably,
have clearing.
got a
Yeah.
45 to 5,000 worth of clearing to do. I mean, I'm just taking a stab. I only see it from the street, so.
But from what we know of today, we are under our budget. But we are close to it with these, so we need to be cognizant of that. I have factored in. I'm tracking, I don't have obviously exact numbers, but I'm tracking in time for the expenses of this committee. But again, we 40 some odd $1,000 in the budget after these to cover this due diligence and the operational expenses. My guess, not from the financial office. Adam's got a question. But Adam, go ahead.
All right, I don't want to come off the wrong way here. What is it going to take for the committee to have an accurate spreadsheet from the budget office on a bi-weekly basis? Is that too much to ask? Because before we talk about approving any invoices, we should be seeing that budget and seeing what's actually in there left so we can make proper decisions. Just food for thought.
I do agree with you.
So what's it take to make that happen?
Mike, I'm gonna defer that one directly to you.
With all due respect.
Well, the reason you don't specifically have one today is because Jim's request came in after he thought the financial office worked the late hours till 6:30, like the upstairs of the town office building does. But because they work 5 days a week to align with the Board of Ed, they close at 4 o'clock. So that was this week's reason. However, I think we could avoid this by perhaps coming up with a calendar reminder, regular appointment, something like that for Jim and for Sherry maybe, or whoever, to just run the report a couple days ahead. The good news is Jim's numbers are spot on, so his numbers are right. But having the printout from the finance office might add, I don't know, some people's minds legitimacy, even though I agree with Jim's numbers. So
Yeah,
I guess that's my idea, is we set a calendar reminder and we just run the thing every 2 weeks.
Yeah, I'd like to be able to share that directly from the business office, so maybe rather than my numbers. So yeah, let's try to make it a habit of scheduling this to happen on Thursdays. The Thursdays prior to the meeting, so that it can go out in people's packets
I mean,
on Friday morning.
in all honesty, in order for us to feel out if we need to try to get more funds or whatever in order to make this all happen accordingly. That's the only reason I'm asking, right? So we got a budget, we got a schedule, and those two need to align. And if they're not, we got to catch it early. That's all.
All right, thank you, Adam. I will try to coordinate getting this
Let me know how I can help.
properly. I appreciate it. Adam Zalonis.
Yes, on that same thought, the process, I think having the budget data from the financial office prior to our biweekly meeting should be just standard procedure. I think it's hard for us to make informed decisions without having the accurate financial picture.
Yep, I agree, and noted.
Oh, just sort out a schedule then.
Yeah, it's just, well,
Because your Thursday for Friday might not work. That team is 3 or 4 right now.
well, and that's what we've been kind of running across,
Yeah.
is delays in getting it, so I'm trying.
No, I know. I'm just saying you might want more than, if you're expecting to send it in the packet.
Yeah,
Almost Tuesday before.
That's my point.
okay, so.
Give
So
us
they
something.
give them 3 days or 4 days to get it to you.
Ask them, hopefully to get it to you.
Yeah, I'll have that conversation with Sherry, I'll have something defined. Let me get their schedule and a turnaround before I don't wanna dictate something into their workload. Let's let them propose something that works for their workload that will be amenable to what our needs are here. All right, so
Back
back
up.
to tech dot.
Yeah, back to Tecton. So after the allowance of the Tecton to the 25.5. What's left in your numbers, just for the,
About $42,000.
because I got the number, I didn't catch it, so.
Yeah, so after Tecton and after the appraisal and after Colliers, those three that or those two, and this. We're still under by 42,000. Correct. Based on expenses from the last quarter, yeah.
Right.
So.
So Jim, that's what we have to work with for geotech, other due diligence, any financial advising.
Yeah, so the financial advisor work is ongoing with the town. Clearing and test bits and geotech are the two known expenses that we don't have firm pricing for. But they're not gonna be $42,000 or anywhere close to it. There'll be a chunk of that, obviously, but
There'll be a quarter of that.
Uh, and then beyond that is really the rest of the work of the committee, any legal services and reporting to secretary payroll. And a future second appraisal. I have that kind of tracked in here currently as well.
You carry about same.
Yeah,
I'm gonna say it's gonna be about the same.
So without a number, back there right now, if I put 5,000 in here for clearing, for example.
Yeah.
We're at 188 after all of that.
That's another 3,000 for the second appraisal.
Yeah, that's it.
That's all right.
I'm doing the most I can.
I
I don't have all,
get-
yeah, but I'm trying to project to make sure that we could get to this without having
An impact on
an
that.
immediate crisis.
Yes.
Uh,
I don't think
because-
we have an immediate crisis. I think
Yeah.
this is, I'm safe enough with this.
I would like to not have to go request additional money, and I don't think, I don't want to. So I'm trying desperately to avoid that. And I think we are in a position right now where we are not having that conversation, so that's a good thing. So,
We're getting down to.
but we do need to be conscientious as we approach. I mean, we can't help if some major due diligence crisis arises, but we don't have that. So,
This is a silly question. Do we pay more for tech time when their full team comes for meeting? Would that make a difference for us?
I suspect.
It's not really broke down. I didn't see it broke down.
I know, that's why I'm wondering. I mean, you want them when you want them, obviously, like,
Yeah, it's like
If-
all we're done, right?
It's just a question. I mean, I think that it's the right move to obviously do what you have. But if there's a savings in, maybe you get,
Yeah, and they did, you have Justin and the Tecton team's email saying that they
Yeah.
are willing to,
They
work with
want
us. They're working us to help streamline, they'll work with us to streamline and bill all the reporting once needed, obviously, so that is obviously appreciated as well.
Yeah.
So with that said, it's again, the June 30th date is coming up, so if you guys are comfortable enough with this, I think we should act on this to make sure that they feel like they're gonna be whole. Or be able to be kept whole as they continue to work with us over the next couple of months.
Do you need him with a motion to?
I do, I'll entertain a motion if somebody can make one.
Aaron, you want to, or you want me to go?
No, go ahead.
Okay, I move that we, pay Tecton $25,000 for continued services beyond June 30th until October the 6th,
25,500.
500.
Yes, and
Remember,
Sorry.
friendly amendment there on that, and we're not agreeing to pay them 25.5, we're agreeing to approve their ad services proposal. Dated June 22nd, 2026. But that's fine. All right. I will second that, Ann. Any further discussion? All right, hearing none. Lisa.
Mr. Salonis.
Aye.
And Ms. Rochon
Aye.
and Ms. Eaton,
Aye.
Mr. Brothers,
Aye.
Mr. Bacon. Mr. Bacon? Mr. Brewer
Aye.
and Mr. Marshall.
Aye.
Okay. And that's unanimous with a technical difficulty on one.
All right, thank you. Thank you, everybody. I will, so this will be reflective. We'll request a contract amendment from Tecton on this, but we have to have a.
Do they have a contract?
It is in the lawyer's hands as we speak.
I hope they get it soon.
I do as well. So that process is moving. It's with lawyers. They had questions. I had not seen a follow-up. Mike, I don't know if you'd heard anything further.
Yes, I'm sorry. Ambulance call. No, fire call. Hang on. There was an update email today, with some back and forth. I don't, I can't remember. There were like, between this weekend and today, there were like 14 SBC emails. So I don't remember, but I know it's moving back and forth.
Yeah. All right, so we don't have comments back from there yet. It's pretty straightforward and for what's essentially a feasibility study. Go.
Yeah, if I remember right, Jim, the last volley was you answered a couple questions about because initially some of the pieces of the contract didn't show up in the attachment for somebody in the chain. They went back, looked at it again, they found the pieces. I think maybe you commented somewhere in there. So I think it's back to the lawyers for their final, oh, okay, now we understand comments.
Okay. So Tecton's not here, but we are. We're trying.
Nope, that's fine.
So, but
And they
that'll
were very close.
Yep. All right. So with that said, you do have to go back to Tall Timbers, but let's take care of these invoices while we're talking. This invoice is here from Tecton. We're on subject. What you have is an invoice from Tecton for services through May 31st, 2026. They are billing to 43% complete of their contract. Bearing in mind that 10,000 of that contract value is for an estimate, and then there's another value in their agreement for the actual filing of the grant application. Which now I'm realizing I can go look that up because that is an interesting question. Give me 1 second. Just as a budgetary discussion, because Scott raised the issue with his CAD services proposal of potentially doing the grant application scope as part of post-referendum work, so that cost can be reimbursed rather than a direct cost to us. I believe Tecton, if I remember correctly, identified a cost for that work directly in their agreement. So bear with me 1 second. Exhibits. So it's not germane to paying this invoice, obviously, but just to give people some peace of mind on the whole discussion, they have $10,000 of their fee as grant application. So there's a chance that we can debate how we do this, and that may not actually bill. We may not need to bill towards their encumbrance towards it if we do it after the fact. Does that make sense? And then it becomes reimbursable. So just another consideration, but that's $10,000 that might be favorable if we have further discussion. That council will take that. But at any rate, so that's what you have before you. Does anybody want to make a motion to pay this? To approve this payment?
Can you, before we do that,
Yes.
I know they have letter of intent there on the contract, still
Yeah, we have, that's,
same thing.
this is their second invoice. We've approved the previous ones and are paying them in.
Yeah, I'll make a motion to pay invoice number 49132. Tecton Architects for the amount of $16,381.44.
All right, do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Seconded by it. Any further discussion? All right, hearing none. Lisa, one more time for us, please.
One more time. And Mr. Marshall,
Yes.
Mr. Brewer,
Yes.
Mr. Bacon, Mr. Brothers,
Yes.
Ms. Eaton,
Yes.
Ms. Grosjean,
Yes.
and Mr. Zelonis,
Yes.
as unanimous with one technical difficulty.
All right, thank you, everybody. We'll let the business office know that that can be paid. All right, now going back to item 6,
Do this one?
that's part of this, that's their backup reimbursables.
Oh, yes, I am.
Yep.
Sorry,
So that's included
I
in
thought
there.
I was suggesting. Thank you. Great.
Yeah, no, so that was their reimbursement for the Willington Day,
Yep,
printing,
got it.
all of the boards.
Yes.
All right, so jumping back to marketing proposal, Tall Timbers. So, having had all of that budget discussion, just to kind of frame where we're at. And I'll give you an update on this as well. So Adam, following our last meeting, had reached out to Ira, the gentleman at Tall Timbers. We had a call, I forget what day that was, Friday? Adam?
Correct.
Yeah, Friday with Ira. We took the time to kind of review the questions we had related to his ability to execute an effective strategy in the 2 to 3 months versus the 4 to 6 months. So long story short, the simple answer is he believes he could. But it would be tight. The cost would not change from what's in here. And he's projecting $16,900 for his task-based work, which involves deliverables, setting up and maintaining of a website for the school building committee that's dedicated to the project, coming up with a marketing communication plan, doing some background analysis, preparing 2 newsletter deliverables. There's a separate cost for that included in there. So all in, he's at a 25,100 and wait, I'm doing my math wrong. Sorry, $23,120 for his services to get us through to blackout. So that's the question on the table. There's definitely a value to this. It just brings us dangerously close.
It's also a little
And oral.
redundant to things that we're already doing. We've got. It's a couple of them.
So I think there would be coordination between the 2 of them. Adam, if you took this differently, feel free to please chime in. The services are definitely different. There would be coordination with the messaging, with tech, or would have to be. Ira would be really doing more community-based, community-targeted advertising rather than projects, or marketing rather than projects.
I think
Sure.
that what we really need is help identifying, what the residents want as we narrow it down to one project. If he could do something to help us that way, so that we could really have, an accurate understanding of how people are, which projects people really want. And I think that's kind of our missing piece to the puzzle right now.
And can I speak quickly about this?
Yeah, please.
So I think from what I understood from the meeting with Ira is that it's another set of people that are monitoring websites and questionnaires and having all that factual information rather than just the committee, right? It's another set of people. Like, yes, our Tecton architects are doing a great job at pumping out some material that we can share with the community. We're doing these events, but it's a whole nother piece to that this gentleman will have a couple people actively working again on our site, answering questions, doing updates. It's just a different beeline to the townspeople of information and being able to navigate through questions rather than the SBC maybe doing it, you know, on a weekly basis or whatever. There is definitely value. Again, I know our budget's tight, but from sitting there having a conversation with this person, you kind of understand all the different things he can do to help promote the projects through, you know, again, the websites, the mailers and all that. So it's just another way to get to the people is all I'm saying. And they can provide that accurate information.
I guess I would follow up with that. I'm just curious. So, from the conversation that you had with him, I know that you mentioned the creation of a website. Did he give you, which we have, but I understand that it's not necessarily a very interactive website. Did you get a sense though that of the specific things that he would be adding that we're not doing?
I mean,
Well,
go ahead, James.
no, I was gonna say, you go ahead.
Well, I mean, it is the same information that we have on the website, but based on his experience that provide, you know, coming up with a website off of the town website is actually seemed to work better. It seems to get more hits from people looking at it. It's a lot of it's the same factual information, but it's more based for families too, you know, where we're providing technical data. And, you know, from what he said, it's basing it more towards the families, getting this information to the families in not such a technical manner.
Okay. So maybe kind of regurgitation isn't the right word, but maybe he would provide like a reinterpretation of the materials that we have that are available online, but maybe something that's more family friendly on a different website. Um, I just want to make sure that I have an understanding of those specific things because I know, and I think that, you know, this conversation being embedded in the conversation we were just having about budget. Just, you know, I think ultimately the question for me is like, is the juice worth the squeeze given the broader I guess we, you know, we need to know what our overall budget is and exactly what we would be getting that we can't get from our own marketing in Tecton. And I say that as someone who's very much open to novel ideas for reaching people. I can definitely see value in a website that might be a bit more engaging. I think one of the questions that I would have from that though was like how does he drive people to the website? I think that's one of our biggest challenges. And I know Jimmy sent out the data on we have been able to get a lot of views on Facebook. And we know how we're driving that by posting on it and posting it to other local Facebook groups. I'd be curious to know how he drives traffic to websites that are, it sounds like it would be like a standalone website. It's not affiliated with the town, so it's not being driven by town traffic and things like that. I guess I would just want some more specific details on exactly what he would provide that's different. And I also note that you're saying that it sounds like there's some person power to kind of manage some of the questions that come in and things like that, which I also think is important. So those specifics kind of couched within the larger budget and how tight that is would be important for me to know.
James, do you have anything more from your notes that I don't have my notes in front of me from our meeting on Friday? Do you have yours? Any information that I missed or anything you interpreted that he was, you know, discussing with us?
Yeah, I'm actually sitting here trying to find that website that he had shared with us for the future road school to give a sense, but I can't find it through a Google search.
Can I ask a question while you're doing that?
Yeah, please.
Is the newsletter an option or is it a must?
It was described as a critical piece in getting information out to the key demographics that we want.
It could be the newsletter with the survey, and that could be a form of data collection to help us make our decision.
He did say they did that. Correct, James?
Sorry, say that again, Ann. I was reading.
Phil asked about the newsletter, and I think with the newsletter in conjunction with a survey. So if the newsletter provided a lot of very detailed information to help in decision making, and then we asked the reader to decide which option they preferred, I could see that being helpful.
Yeah, so Ian anticipated two newsletters as a part of this effort.
Do you see that as a reduction of our postcards? Like, could that become a wash? I think in your general math, when you were trying to figure out where we're getting to,
Yeah,
you were including additional mailings.
I think we'd have to work through that with him versus his other recommendations that there should be a pack for the project so that they can get information out via postcards. During blackout and everything as a component of this,
You do that during blackout?
website would have the pack can.
Oh,
But it wouldn't be affiliated with this group. So. He doesn't arrange that either. That's just a separate recommendation,
Yeah.
that he has with other communities he's worked with.
Our time frame right now, the blackout period is not like we were talking about having 2 months.
Yep.
Which was really, really scary prior to. Now not having that blackout time frame, I'm not as concerned about that, from just my perspective. If I think any marketing dollars spent are well spent, in this scenario. I think your point of the budget being very tight is very accurate. I just question that, if you could take out the math, the postcard, that could be removed and all that information could be done with this.
So
Then I see more of the cost of 16.9 and not necessarily 23.
So the way in looking at these numbers, we have the funds to execute this, but it would, with all the other expenses we have, we'll be able to be asked to have the one or on separate site due diligence. Or legal fees, or even just the 16.9, it puts us over to.
It does.
Yeah.
the other thing that I see value in is the review and analyze background materials and information and incorporating that into that newsletter. So
It didn't strike me, and Adam, you can correct me if I'm wrong, that like picking and choosing pieces of this was not an effective strategy.
Yeah, I don't think, I agree. I don't think it was like a la carte. It was basically what he does as a service to help a town come up with a successful referendum, getting that material out and ensuring that it's all factual. So
How would we feed him the information he needs if he has questions or if there isn't something out there?
We'd have to have a group working with them. He'd have to generate a lot of content too, it would have to come in part from this committee.
And take that.
And TechCon, it's a lot.
in terms of the review and analyze, you could look at our previous SBC website and all the documents on there for history and then what we've done up to date, which I believe is also on another website, the current one.
and believe it or not, after my first contact to Ira, he started doing a lot of research on what's happened and what's happening now. So he has a good idea. I think he's been following us for a few months since I've contacted him. So I think he's got a good idea where we stand and any of the public knowledge that's out there. He's got it already probably in a file, I'm sure.
6B accurate, or sorry, 4B accurate. You know what I'm talking about? Hold on. The pricing for website upgrade will be decided once content and reasons are determined. Yeah, like that meeting could be higher. I,
That's Jerry.
again, I. Marketing, I think, is well spent. That's something I'm worried about.
And until the referendum, we don't really have that much time. I even thought of this as something to follow the project. You know, if it is approved and the project does go, it would be an interesting way to follow, you know, for the residents to follow the project.
So, I mean, my take was, I think there's potentially a definite value in having a dedicated website that's not through the town, but then we're also gonna get the blowback from that too, is why is this not done through town channels as a town committee? So it's, that said, I know dedicated pages to school building projects are a good thing. You can get pictures, construction updates along the way, something that the committee can consider, I think, long range. I think there's definitely a value to this. But we don't currently have the funding to get all of it in as projected. And we want to be as conscientious as we can be with the funding we do have available in use of taxpayer funds. I don't think we can approve this and then go back to the Senate. If that makes sense, that would be a horrible thing. Yeah, I think it would be a horrible look. So
I'm also afraid it's a little bit too late. If we had done this. Well, we haven't done it.
no, he said he could get it done. It would be an aggressive effort, but he said he could get it done. I take him at his word on that, assuming we have everybody aligned on our side to feed him the information he needs and that we're not the cause of any delay. Yeah, so I'll just say, we can go around the room. My opinion, I don't think we can do it. But, go ahead, Adam.
Can we wait until after the meeting tomorrow with the community?
We can wait as long as we want, but his window of time is dwindling. So we can't long, and we'd have
Okay.
to do a special meeting if we wanted to move on this after the fact. What's your thinking, Adam?
Well, this is the first chance we'll really have to get community impact. And if we have like obviously a disconnect or a really strong marketing need where we can see the feedback we're getting says, hey, we're not getting the messaging out there. They have a lot of questions. We have a real need for this. And if that seems to be the case, then I think it's best to, we don't know that yet. I think it's best to wait until after we have that community engagement. And after then, I mean, we meet on it Wednesday if we can. But I think I'm torn right now. I think that the budget is tight. However, if we feel there's a very strong need after the community meeting, I think it would justify it. Otherwise, I would say no.
All good thoughts. Anybody else?
Now that he just said that, it makes me wonder if we could ask that, does the town feel like the additional expenditure for a marketing firm to get ongoing information out would be beneficial. Just a thought, I mean,
That's a good idea.
Try to find a way of inserting that
just
question. into
being
the discussion.
as a, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
And tie it in with sharing,
Especially some, oh, go ahead, sorry.
you know, that we're trying, that we really want to have the project that our townspeople want. And
Community engagement.
we really need the community engagement, and is this a way that we could possibly do it?
yeah,
And yeah, I mean, especially if somebody says you're not getting the information out, whatever, it's a prime opportunity to bring something like this up.
And then that says that if we did have to go back to the town and they agreed that they thought it was valuable, we would have their support.
That's making Jim's head hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah, that justifies it, I think. Then if the town had asked for it, then I think that justifies our ability to then spend that money knowing that the budget would be close.
Adam, having been on the call with Ira, does that track well for you too, you think?
Yeah. I mean, I think that based off of, let's see how the show, how many people show up tomorrow, how interactive they are.
Yeah,
And I agree with everything, what everybody said, maybe having a third party present the information is a better thing. So, I mean, I'm game with waiting a few days and seeing how things go and going from there.
all right, let's proceed with that. So we don't have our next meeting until July 13th. We're not waiting that long before we get ahead and do this. We'd have to call a quick special virtual meeting or
July
something.
15.
That would work.
So-
If you do a special virtual meeting and go from there.
All right, let's see where it goes tomorrow. And if. Yeah, we'll schedule something, have a follow-up discussion specifically to call timbers and things. In a week that follows and try to get it done, one way or the other. Because I
I would
don't,
also be very curious for ideas to survey, whatever you do to find out how people are doing. I think that might be a good.
Yeah.
Then you might be able to contribute.
And if it's not him, how will we? Yeah.
Can we schedule a virtual meeting ahead of time and then just cancel it if we decide not to?
yeah, I mean, we can look at calendars right now if you guys want to talk about it.
Sure.
It has Monday the 29th.
Hold on. What day you thinking?
It was Monday the 29th, Lex, if that's our regular meeting time, or meeting day of the week at least.
I could do.
Is it virtual?
Yes.
Yeah, we can do virtual only.
Works for me.
Works for me, Jim.
I can do the 29th as well.
What time?
7 o'clock.
Okay.
Lawson.
I like to do.
Oh, sorry, we got some feedback. 7 o'clock work? I'll get something. This is in placeholder. Gonna always cancel it that Monday if need be. Virtual only, 7 p.m. Monday, the 29th. All right. Any other thoughts? Going once, going twice. All right, that's it for our agenda for this evening. Going to just go ahead and make it myself. I'm gonna move we adjourn at 8:59 p.m.
Second.
That, you know,
All right, all those in favor, please say aye.
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 All right, thank you, everybody. I look forward to seeing you all tomorrow night.
8:59.
Good night, everybody.
See ya, thanks.
Good night.
Thank you.